First contact. First blood. Captain Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Dauntless, the pride of Earth's United Defense Fleet, watching the stars through the massive observation window. The ship had been deployed to the edge of the solar system, following the detection of unusual energy signatures near Neptune's orbit. Intelligence suggested these weren't natural phenomena, and after decades of searching the stars for other intelligent life, humanity might finally get its answer. Contact detected, Captain, announced Lieutenant Riza Farsi, his eyes fixed on the sensor display. 3 vessels, configuration unknown. They're maintaining position just beyond Neptune's orbit. Chen nodded, her expression calm despite her racing heart. First contact. The moment humanity had prepared for since the early days of space exploration. Open a channel across all standard frequencies, she ordered, and notify Earth Command that we've made contact. The communication officer, Ensign Park, worked quickly to establish a connection. Channel open, Captain. Broadcasting welcome package with translation matrices. The bridge fell silent as they waited. Minutes passed with no response from the alien vessels. Then the main screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything they'd seen before. Tall and angular, with multiple eyes arranged in a semicircle across what appeared to be its face, skin a deep blue-green that seemed to shimmer under its vessel's lights. "We are the Vrex Hegemony," the being announced, its words translated through Earth's advanced AI interpreters. "You occupy space claimed by our expansion directive. Submit to assessment for integration or face immediate removal." Chen's diplomatic training kicked in. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Alliance. We welcome peaceful contact, but we do not recognize claims on our home system. We invite discussion." The screen went dark before she could finish. "Captain, they're powering up weapons systems." Lieutenant Farsi's voice cut through the tension. "Energy readings indicate directed plasma weapons, substantially more advanced than our standard armaments." Chen's mind raced. They'd prepared for this possibility. First contact turning hostile, but had hoped for peaceful exchange. Battle stations. Deploy countermeasures. Notify Earth Command that we're facing hostile first contact. The Dauntless shuddered as the first Vrex energy beam struck its shields. The technology was impressive, but not overwhelming. What the aliens couldn't know was that humanity had spent the last century preparing for this exact scenario, pouring resources into defense technologies that were designed specifically to counter advanced energy weapons. "Shields holding at 87%, reported the tactical officer. "Their weapons are powerful, but predictable." Chen nodded. "Deploy the Aegis system." The Dauntless released a cloud of microscopic drones, a swarm intelligence system designed to intercept and defuse energy weapons. As the next volley from the Vrex ships approached, the swarm activated, creating a diffusion field that scattered the energy beams into harmless light. "Aegis performing at optimal levels," Lieutenant Farsi confirmed. "Their weapons' effectiveness has dropped by 60%. "Now show them what we can do," Chen ordered. "Activate kinetic response systems. Target their weapon arrays only." Unlike many fictional accounts of space warfare, humanity had developed practical weapons systems rather than energy-based ones. The Dauntless launched a series of hypervelocity projectiles, simple in concept but devastating in execution. These tungsten rods, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, struck the lead Vrex vessel with devastating precision. The alien chute shields flickered and failed under the kinetic impact. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the vessel listed to one side, its weapon systems disabled by the pinpoint strikes. "2 remaining vessels are adjusting course," Farsi reported. "They appear to be retreating." The entire engagement had lasted less than 1 minute. Chen exhaled slowly. "Maintain defensive posture. Send a tight beam message to Earth Command with full battle telemetry, and prepare a follow-up communication to the Vrex. Make it clear we defended ourselves, but remain open to peaceful dialogue." Back on the Vrex command vessel, Supreme Commander Vex Lore watched the battle recordings with mounting disbelief. The humans' technology was primitive by hegemony standards. They barely had interplanetary capability, no faster than light travel, and relied on kinetic weapons rather than energy systems. Yet they had effectively neutralized a hegemony battle cruiser in less than a minute. Impossible, he hissed to his war council. Their species profile indicated minimal defensive capabilities. They should have submitted immediately. Strategic Advisor Nextal tilted her head in the Vrex equivalent of contemplation. The intelligence was gathered from long-range observation. We may have miscalculated. A minor setback. Vexlor dismissed. Prepare the battle fleet. We will not be humiliated by a species still confined to a single star system. They cannot stand against our full might. As the Vrex retreat from Neptune's orbit played out across Earth's news networks, humanity realized the universe was not only populated but potentially hostile. The decades of preparation that some had called paranoid now seemed prescient. In the following weeks, Earth's unified government activated dormant defense protocols. Hidden shipyards in Earth orbit, beneath the lunar surface, and in the asteroid belt began accelerating production. The UES Dauntless had been just one of dozens of advanced warships developed in secret, with hundreds more in various stages of completion. Captain Chen found herself summoned to Earth Command, the sprawling complex beneath the Pacific Ocean that served as humanity's military headquarters. Fleet Admiral Yamamoto, the weathered leader of Earth's defense forces, met her personally. Captain, your actions at Neptune were exemplary. You've given us something invaluable. The knowledge that our defenses work, and time to prepare for what comes next. You believe they'll return in force, Chen stated rather than asked. Without question, Yamamoto confirmed. Our deep space arrays have detected large-scale energy signatures consistent with fleet movements. Intelligence estimates 3 weeks before they reach our system. They'll come with overwhelming numbers, expecting to crush us. Chen studied the holographic display showing the projected Vrex approach. They still don't understand who they're dealing with, do they? Yamamoto allowed a small smile. No, they believe they're facing a primitive species making its first tentative steps into space. They have no idea what humanity is capable of when threatened. The Perseus Protocol, Chen asked, referring to the last resort defense strategy developed decades ago. Authorized and implementing as we speak, Yamamoto confirmed. Captain, I'm promoting you to Fleet Commander. The Dauntless will lead the Jupiter Defense Group. Your experience with Vrex tactics and technology is invaluable. Chen accepted the promotion with a nod. We'll be ready, Admiral. As she left Earth Command, Chen looked up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, an alien armada was approaching, confident in their technological superiority, unaware that humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment. The Vrex thought they were facing a species taking its first steps into a larger universe. What they would find instead was a civilization that had always known the stars might be hostile, and had planned accordingly. The Vrex would return, and when they did, they would face not just the Dauntless, but the full might of a humanity united against an external threat for the first time in its history. Chen felt a strange calm as she contemplated the coming storm. First contact had gone poorly, but first blood had gone to humanity. The real test would come soon enough. The turning point. 3 weeks after the Neptune incident, the Vrex hegemony arrived in force. Their fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel near the orbit of Mars. 87 warships of various classes, all larger and ostensibly more powerful than anything in Earth's arsenal. From her position on the bridge of the UES Dauntless, now stationed in high orbit above Jupiter, Fleet Commander Maya Chen watched the tactical display with grim determination. The Vrex had bypassed the outer defense line, likely assuming that humanity's military presence would be concentrated around Earth itself. They're heading directly for Mars colony, reported her tactical officer, Commander Farsi, recently promoted after their first encounter with the Vrex. Colony defenses are activating, but they won't hold against that fleet. Mars colony, humanity's first permanent extraterrestrial settlement, housed over 3 million civilians. Though it had some defensive capabilities, it wasn't a military stronghold. It was a scientific and mining operation. "They're targeting civilians first," Chen observed, her voice tight. "Psychological warfare. Show strength by destroying our foothold on Mars, then demand Earth's surrender." Admiral Yamamoto's face appeared on the command screen. "Fleet Commander, the Vrex have ignored our attempts at communication. They've made their intentions clear. You are authorized to execute Directive Olympus." Chen nodded solemnly. "Understood, Admiral." Commencing Directive Olympus, she turned to her communications officer. "Send the activation code to all fleet elements." Authorization, Chen, Alpha 7 Zulu Tango. Across the solar system, hidden assets stirred to life. What the Vrex didn't know, couldn't have known, was that humanity had spent the last century transforming the entire solar system into an interconnected defense network. As the Vrex fleet approached Mars, their sensors detected no significant military presence. Supreme Commander Vex Lore stood on his command deck, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. "Begin the bombardment," he ordered. "Let them watch as we erase their first colony. Then they will understand the futility of resistance." The lead Vrex ships moved into position, charging their main weapons arrays. That's when the surface of Mars itself seemed to shift. What appeared to be natural features, craters, ridges, mountain ranges, began to move. Massive doors opened in the Martian surface, revealing weapon emplacements that had been disguised as geological formations. From Olympus Mons, the massive shield volcano that dominated the Martian landscape, emerged the barrel of a colossal mass striker, a weapon that used electromagnetic acceleration to launch projectiles at velocities approaching that of light. "Multiple weapons signatures detected," screamed the Vrex sensor operator. "They've weaponized the planet." Before Vex Lore could respond, the first salvo fired. Olympus Mons erupted, not with lava, but with a stream of hypervelocity projectiles. The massive slugs tore through the forward elements of the Vrex fleet, their kinetic energy overwhelming shields designed to deflect energy weapons. Evasive maneuvers. Vex Lore commanded, but it was too late for many of his ships. Simultaneously, across the solar system, humanity revealed the full extent of its preparations. From hidden bases on Earth's moon, from disguised stations in the asteroid belt, from the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, defensive systems activated. Fleet Commander Chen watched the tactical display update as the solar system's true defensive capability was revealed. All defense groups, execute coordinated attack pattern Echo 9. Dauntless battle group, prepared to engage from Jupiter's shadow. The Vrex fleet, still reeling from the surprise attack from Mars, now found itself caught in a carefully planned crossfire. Earth ships emerged from hiding places throughout the system, not the handful of vessels the Vrex had expected, but hundreds of warships of various classes, all designed specifically for system defense. "They've split their forces," observed Commander Farsi as the Dauntless led its battle group out from behind Jupiter. "The Martian defenses have thrown them into disarray. Take advantage of the confusion," Chen ordered. "Target their command vessels. Cut off the head." The battle that followed was unlike anything in human military history. Space warfare, as humanity had long theorized, was not about dogfights and dramatic maneuvers, but about mathematics, physics, and preparation. The Vrex's technological advantage in propulsion and energy weapons was real, but they found themselves outmatched by humanity's ruthless pragmatism. Earth vessels, smaller but more numerous, used Jupiter's gravity to slingshot into attack positions, conserving fuel and achieving surprise. The kinetic weapon platforms, hidden throughout the system, maintained a constant barrage, forcing the Vrex to divide their attention. On the Vrex command ship, Supreme Commander Vex Lore watched in horror as his carefully planned invasion disintegrated into chaos. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Their technology is primitive. They have no interstellar capability." Strategic Advisor Nextall, who had cautioned against underestimating the humans, spoke carefully. "They may lack certain technologies, Supreme Commander, but they have clearly focused their development on system defense. Everything we're seeing suggests decades, perhaps centuries of preparation." "For what?" "First contact." Vexlor hissed in disbelief. "For the worst-case scenario," Nextall replied. "They built their entire system assuming hostility from the stars. And now we have validated that assumption." The battle reached its climax in the rings of Saturn. The remaining Vrex vessels, less than half their original number, attempted to regroup and establish a defensive position within the ring system, using the ice and rock debris as cover from Earth's kinetic weapons. Fleet Commander Chen recognized the opportunity. "They're trapped themselves," she noted. "Predict their movements in 3 dimensions is now limited by the ring plane." She opened a channel to all Earth vessels. "All ships, execute maneuver avalanche." The Earth fleet, which had been pursuing the Vrex in a traditional formation, suddenly split into 3-dimensional deployment. What the Vrex had failed to appreciate was that humanity, evolved on a planet with 3-dimensional movement limited by gravity, had spent centuries theorizing about true 3-dimensional warfare. Ships dove below the ring plane, rose above it, creating a sphere of attack vectors around the Vrex position. Simultaneously, charges planted years earlier in strategic points within Saturn's rings detonated, creating artificial debris clouds that further limited Vrex mobility and sensor capability. "They've restricted themselves to thinking in a disk," Chen explained to her bridge crew. "We're thinking in a sphere." The Vrex command vessel, now surrounded, made a desperate attempt to break free of the encirclement. It was during this maneuver that the UES Dauntless lined up the killing shot. A single hypervelocity round, carefully calculated to penetrate the command deck shielding, struck with pinpoint accuracy. The Vrex flagship went dark, drifting lifelessly into Saturn's rings. With their command structure eliminated, the remaining Vrex vessels began to surrender or retreat. The Battle of Saturn's Rings, as it would later be known, lasted less than 40 minutes from start to finish. In the aftermath, as Earth ships secured Vrex prisoners and salvaged alien technology, Captain Chen received a priority communication from Earth Command. Admiral Yamamoto's expression was solemn but satisfied. "Fleet Commander, we've received a transmission from the Vrex Hegemony Central Government. They're suing for peace." Chen raised an eyebrow. That was faster than expected. "Apparently, the hegemony is not unified in its expansionist policies," Yamamoto explained. "There are factions that oppose this invasion, and our decisive victory has strengthened their position. They're offering reparations and formal recognition of our sovereignty over the solar system." Chen considered this. "And what are we offering in return?" "That we don't reveal to the rest of the galaxy just how thoroughly we defeated their supposed elite fleet," Yamamoto said with a small smile. "It seems the Vrex have a reputation to maintain among other spacefaring species." The implications weren't lost on Chen. "So there are others out there." "Many others. According to the Vrex data we've captured, dozens of interstellar civilizations, organized into various alliances, confederations, and empires," Yamamoto confirmed. "We've been invited to send representatives to something called the Galactic Concord." Chen stared at the tactical display, where the remnants of the Vrex fleet were being escorted out of the solar system. From isolated to galactic politics in a single battle. History will mark this day. "Indeed it will," Yamamoto agreed. The Vrex came expecting to find an easy conquest. Instead, they found humanity, prepared, united, and unwilling to submit. The message has been sent to every civilization watching. Earth is not to be trifled with. 6 months later, Maya Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood aboard the newly commissioned UES Ambassador, humanity's first purpose-built diplomatic vessel. As Earth's military representative to the Galactic Concord, she would accompany a team of diplomats to humanity's first formal meeting with the wider galactic community. Before boarding the shuttle that would take her to the ambassador, she paused to look up at the night sky one last time from Earth's surface. The stars no longer represented mystery and potential. They were now known quantities, filled with civilizations both friendly and hostile. "Admiral," called her aide, interrupting her contemplation. "They're ready for you." Chen nodded, taking one last look upward. Humanity had survived its trial by fire. The species that had spent its history fighting itself had united when faced with an external threat, revealing a preparation and resolve that had shocked their would-be conquerors. The Vrex had entered Earth's solar system confident in their victory. They hadn't lasted an hour against humanity's defense network. And now, the galaxy would learn what the Vrex had discovered the hard way. Humans might be newcomers to interstellar politics, but they were fast learners, ruthlessly pragmatic, and they played to win.